Hello and welcome to Japanese from Zero, Ask a Teacher. This is Ask a Teacher number 98. We talk about what you want to talk about here and we answer your questions. We, meaning me, I answer your questions about Japanese to the best of my ability. Alright, and today we have a lot of good questions and a little bit of research went into these answers. So let's get right to them. First question is from an old-time member and a really good speaker of Japanese named Justin Des. I think I said named Justin Des, but I meant to say named Justin Des. He says, are there ever times when interpreting or speaking in Japanese conversation that you don't catch every single word someone says, just bits and pieces? Yeah, but I mean, that happens in English too. And we're just really good at glossing over it. I think the problem is when you're speaking Japanese, you're hyper-focused on everything. Right? So let me tell you what I do when I'm interpreting and it happens, because then I'm getting paid to interpret, right? So how do I possibly miss something and move on, right? Well, here's a couple things that I always keep in my mind, right? Number one, the people that I'm interpreting for don't know what they missed, right? So I can rearrange if I have to. If I have to rearrange, I will. Let me show you sort of. This is what I do, right? I sort of wrote the rules out here. I'm just going to go through them one by one. First thing I do is if I get lost while I'm translating, I pause. I stop talking. Right about like that, right? And I make a concerned face, just in case they look at me, right? Make a concerned face. And I listen to what the guy is saying. Because as you know, thoughts don't end in one sentence. They're normally 2 or 3 sentences long. And a lot of times, human beings have this pattern where they restate. They'll say, well, and that's why, like I said before, A plus B always equals C. But of course, in the case of D, it's always A plus C. Like they'll do that, and then they'll restate. So if I have to wait a sentence or two, I pause, I listen, and then I reconstruct. Because I have the ability of taking 3 sentences and combining them into one if I have to. It's easily done. Or I can just say the important part. I could say, だから、さっき言ったように A プラス B イコール C なんです。これが、事実です。I could say something like that. But let's say that I totally flub it. I move on. I skip and I move. If I have to, I move. I don't worry about it. Because, you know what? The reality is that the people that are listening, the chances of them listening extremely intently to every single sentence is also limited, right? You know, it's possible they were zoning out anyway, and they weren't even hearing what I was saying to my amazingly crafted sentence, right? If I can't hear what they're saying, I move closer. And in the cases where I can, I ask them to repeat it again. Now, I assume you're not a professional interpreter, so that isn't happening to you. What's happening to you is you're having conversation, and they say something, and you get lost. This is what I would do in your case. Learn this. You know what I realized I need? I need paper, right? I need, right back. This is the most important thing. It's magic. This one sound will help you out. Actually, there's a couple sounds. This is one of them. Actually, I'm gonna give you more than one. Hang on. I'm gonna give you. This is like power Japanese, like simple power Japanese, right? So they're talking, blah, 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 and you're like, you hear a word you've never heard before. Let me think of one. That you, anyone have a big word? I can't think of a big word. Let me think. Kyoryu, for example. I mean, I have no other word, sorry. Kyoryu, which you all know because that's like a level 1 word, right? You go, eh? Right after they say it. What? That is what right there. You wouldn't go, nani? Just say, and it will make them stop. And then you could, kyoryutte? 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 Dinosaur? What's that? Right? Kyoryu means dinosaur, right? If you are having a conversation with somebody, stop the conversation. If it's TV, move on. You know, look up the word, pause, reverse, whatever you got to do. But in a conversation, stop and ask. That's the best thing you can do. And besides, we do it in English. If someone says to you and they're talking and you kind of zone out for a second and you hear dinosaur, you're like, what? Sorry, whoa, hang on. Sorry, I just zoned out. What? Dinosaur? We do this in English, right? And let me think if I can give you a phrase to say you zoned out. I got it. Here we go. I'm going to give you this phrase. Because I know you know a lot of Japanese. Give it to you. This is what you have to say. Because it's okay. It's okay as a human being to zone out. What is it? ちょっとぼーっとしてた. ちょっとぼーっとしてた. I was sort of zoning out. There's another word too, ぼんやり, but I learned that a long time ago. I just don't ever use it. But ちょっとごめんちょっとぼーっとしてた. もう一回言ってくれる? Could you say it again? もう一度言ってください. Any level of politeness that is comfortable for you. I've talked about this before. If you're an extremely polite person in English, well, you probably should be just as polite in Japanese. So you could say, ちょっとすみません. 今全然違うことを考えてました. I was thinking of something totally different. If you're a little bit more casual, ごめん. ちょっとぼーっとしてた. Sorry, I was just bo is this. That's what you're doing. Like, ぼーっとする. Right? Okay? That's what you did. Right? So, that's what I would do. That is my answer. Thank you, man. That's a really good question. I appreciate it. All right, next question is from Hawk835129. Obviously, it's a robot. His question is, the particle Ga's tripping me up, man. Because, to me, it's the most difficult particle to grasp, hold on to. And I forgot all of its functions. Wow, for a robot to forget all of its functions. So you can explain what it does, man? Should I just keep going until it programs into my brain? Whoa. Programs into his brain. He is a robot, right? Or push myself to learn it now. Okay, I'm going to give you Ga. Ga's not hard at all. It's really not. I want you to mentally throw away the image that it is hard. Because that will make it hard. Right? I said this the other day, but don't ever believe the random thoughts that your brain comes up with saying, I'm never going to get good at Japanese. You know what I say all the time? I say it all the time because I'm learning Korean. I say, yeah, when I'm fluent. Yeah, I'm working on it. I mean, I imagine by March. And I continually pump myself up. Yeah, I'm lying sometimes. Yeah. I mean, do I really know? No, I don't. But look at this guy, Justin Des. When this guy submitted his Juko Shokai, like many, many months ago, I was blown away. And he said, 日本語1年半, no, it was 日本語1年3ヶ月勉強してるんですけど. I was like, whoa! He's been studying for a year and 3 months and he's that good? I would dream to be that good in Korean. But I don't think that Justin Des ever in his time of studying ever said, 僕は全然ダメですよ. I'm totally bad. いや、僕は日本語ペラペラにはならない. I won't be fluent. I forget everything. No, so be positive. Say, this Ga's confusing me. That's all you're going to say. You don't need to say, I keep forgetting it. Get past that. And don't think it's hard. Ga's easy. Here we go. All right, enough motivation here. All right, so let's look at, in level 1, right, just course 1, the most, and daily, the type of Ga's you're going to be using. It's these 3 right here, all from course 1, right? And by the way, when I mean course 1, I mean all from easy level. All easy level. It's suki, kirai, hoshi. Like, dislike, and want. It's whatever plus Ga. The thing that you like, the thing that you dislike, and the thing that you want is marked with Ga, right? I like dogs. Inu ga suki desu. Why is it Ga? Well, gosh, you could say, well, because it's the subject. You could think about it grammatically. But really, there's a more simpler rule. There's a simple rule I'm going to give you as to why would I use Ga there? Why couldn't I use wa? You could use wa. You could say, neko wa suki. I like cats. But that's more of an emphasis. What's really happening in a normal sentence is this. You were saying, watashi wa inu ga suki desu. I like dogs. Think about that. Could you say, watashi wa neko wa suki? You really shouldn't, right? You should make it a rule to not repeat the wa. This is a general rule that can be broken. But if you follow the rule of not repeating the wa, even when the wa is silent, then you'll know when to use ga. So, neko ga suki desu is really watashi wa neko ga suki desu. And I'm sorry I keep changing out inu and neko like randomly, but basically dog or cat, right? Watashi wa neko ga suki desu. I like dogs. I like cats. I dislike cats. Neko ga kirai desu is really watashi wa neko ga kirai desu. But remember, in Japanese, you don't say watashi wa because it's assumed. We know it's overkill. Literally, Japanese people speak like this. Like cats. Yeah, like cats. Like dogs. Like dogs. Hate people. And you just know they're talking about them. But if I had started talking about Mr. Tanaka, right? Tanaka-san wa, speaking of Tanaka, I've introduced my new topic. Omoshiroi hito desu yo. He's an interesting person. Neko ga suki desu. He likes cats. Inu ga kirai desu. He hates dogs. Uma ga hoshii desu. Wants a horse. It's all he now. But again, ga is used, and this is the way we teach it in the book, really. Suki, kirai, hoshii, use ga by default. Unless you're stressing, you use ga. And let me give you an example of the stressing, right? And I don't mean to go this deep into the grammar, but just let's look at it, right? So you could say, for example, neko ga suki desu. I like cats. Demo, however, inu wa kirai desu. But I don't like dogs. I dislike dogs. That's when it makes a lot of sense to say wa for the subject of the thing that you like. Let's look at another way ga is used. Anything is an adjective. This is hot. This is cold. Is this, is that. Ga is used by default. In other words, if you're not doing some sort of weird stressing, you just use ga. And by the way, here's a secret. Let me pull the mic in for this one. What's different between ga kirai, ga suki, ga hoshii, and ga adjective? Nothing. Nothing's different. Because in Japanese, suki, kirai, and hoshii are all adjectives. Yeah, suki and kirai and hoshii in English are verbs, but in Japanese they're not. They're actually adjectives. Suki and kirai are not adjectives. And hoshii is just a typical I adjective, just like atsui, hot, and samui, cold, and yawarakai, soft, and kawaii, cute. If you want to say cats are cute, neko ga kawaii desu is perfectly fine. Yes, you can say neko wa kawaii desu, no problem. But now you're putting a little bit of stress on the neko. Now what is it? Now this is probably the only unique thing that we've talked about. We've only been talking about adjectives at this point. What about when it's circle, circle, right? Blah, blah, ga, verb, all right? So let's say we want to say the fish is swimming. Sakana ga oyoide imasu would work very fine. You could also say sakana wa. This is the problem with wa and ga, right? It's the problem. It's almost what makes ga and wa confusing is because sometimes they're different. Sometimes they're pretty much the same thing. Like they're totally interchangeable. Sakana wa oyoide imasu. Sakana ga oyoide imasu. I mean, you could logistically say the fish are swimming when I say sakana wa because it's sort of a stress. And when you say sakana wa oyoidemasu, or ga, sorry, sakana ga oyoidemasu, maybe now you're saying fish are swimming and not the particular fish that we're talking about. But that's getting really technical. But as you can see, really, in this case, so far every example I've given you, wa and ga can be interchanged, no problem. But you don't want to have two wa's, right? If you feel like you need a second wa, put the ga in. That's the rule. That's the rule of thumb. Let every Japanese person you know tell you different. All right, now, here's another usage of ga that might trip you up because it has nothing to do with saying this is that or I like this or I hate this. It's a sentence with, it's two sentences separated by ga. And in this case, ga means but. But. You know what? Blah, 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 blah. Ga, but, blah, 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 blah. 日本に行きたいのですが, right? 日本に行きたいのですが, I want to go to Japan, but お金がないです. I don't have any money. Okay? It's a way to say because. 友達 let's see if I understand. 明日は火曜日ですが tomorrow is Tuesday, but 仕事がないです. I don't have any work. So it's really just a way to separate sentences. And then this is another one the Japanese do that really confuse you. They just end a sentence with ga for no apparent reason. It's like, what? Like, I like how they go, まあ明日行きますが yeah, but I am going tomorrow. But what? I mean, that's what I was saying. But what? 明日行きますが Okay, I'm just pointing that out. Thank you. That's about all that it does. Those are probably the main ways that ga is used. It's really just mostly what you're going to hear in your everyday life is when it's using it to mark the thing that you adjective or that is adjective. Something is this. It's like saying the is. That's it. Thank you for that question. I hope I helped. Hope I didn't explain too much. You can let me know in the forum or in the chat room if I did. All right. Thank you for that question. Next question is from NJME. He says, how do I use kara and no de correctly? I see it in the middle of and end of sentences, but often I try to use it like that, especially kara, and I get it wrong, and the whole sentence becomes weird. Well, I don't know how you're getting it wrong. I'd like to be in on like that when it happens because I don't think it's that easy to screw this up, but I'm going to give you some information about kara and no de that maybe you don't know or maybe no one's ever taught you, but there's some differences that are sort of maybe possibly what's creating your problems. So let's look at this construction. A kara B. Because of A, B. So in English, we say because of the reason, the result. But here we're saying reason kara, result, right? It's pretty much the same order, right? Pretty much meaning yeah. But look at the little text I have down there. It's focused on the reason. When you use kara, you're sort of focusing on the reason. Okay, so you're saying, well, you know what? Because of A, B. Because of A, B. What's more important there? The B. Right? Let's look at a sentence. It's a long one, I'm sorry. 日本に行きたいから because I want to go to Japan 日本に行きたいからお金を貯めています I'm saving money. I'm saving money is important, but it's not as important as because I want to go to Japan. I'm saving money. All right? Although, granted, that is like minor, right? I mean, really, is that a big, does it really shift more to the reason? I don't know if it does, but grammatically, that's what kara is supposedly doing. All right? Then you have, if I can back up to that one slide, you've got A no de B. A, so B. Right? Now this is more focusing on the result. Right? Let's look at a sentence. お金がないので日本に行けません Because I don't have money, I can't go to Japan. I can't go to Japan is more important than the fact that you don't have money. The thing you're really trying to say is, I can't go to Japan. And there's a supporting reason for it. There's a cause or a fact, and that is no de. Okay? I don't have any money, so I can't go to Japan. There could be a lot of reasons why you can't go, but that's the reason. Now, here's some other things to think about. Now, I don't know if I agree or disagree with this, but apparently, kara is used when you're talking about your intention or quote-unquote volition, your desire, because I want to. Ikitai kara. Whereas no de is used to talk about the situation. Because it's raining tomorrow. Well, that has nothing to do with your volition. I hate that word. But your desire, or your wants, or your needs, right? There's no action on your part. But because of this that I want to do, this is the result. Or I'm going to do this. Is using kara. And no de is saying, well, because I have no money, or because it's raining, or because I am very unpopular, none of the girls want to hang out with me. Okay, but I don't know. Here's the real deal. This is what I'm going to give you in the end. Kara and node are pretty much, if you use them in the middle of a sentence, no Japanese people will go, oh, that's weird. He used node when he should use kara. It's not that black and white in Japanese. Japanese people don't think about it that much. I always think node sounds a little bit more polite than kara. That's just always what I've always thought. And one key difference, this is a key difference between kara and node, right? If someone says to you, why aren't you going to Japan? You could answer with node or kara, and it would really be okay. Okane ga nai node would be okay because I don't have any money, or okane ga nai kara because I don't have any money. But the real main difference is you couldn't add des at the end for node. You'd have to say okane ga nai kara desu. You can say that. Okane ga nai kara desu. It's because I don't have any money. But you can't say okane ga nai node desu. You can't say that. So really, kara is the only one that can stand alone. But node cannot stand alone. It must be okane ga nai node is something, something, something. Unless you want to have a trailing sentence. Okane ga nai node. Right? But when in doubt, honestly, say kara. Either way, just always use kara. And when you hear node, understand it. That's my official, I'm going to call that an experience answer. All right? And then when you get good, you'll start feeling the nuance of node and kara. But you're not going to find it in everything I just said, you're not going to find in any of my books, because I think it just feeds the confusion to somebody. But thank you for the question. Good one. Next question is from KVM LOL. He says, hey George, the program you run looks great, and I'm thinking of picking up the first book tonight. Thank you. By the way, they are cheaper on Amazon. Just go to Amazon.com and type in Japanese from zero. And there are books that come up. All of our books come up, but don't get scammed by the one that's like for $80 because it's like 16 or 17. It's not expensive at all to buy the books, okay? But thank you, I appreciate that. And he says, I'm just wondering if the dates that you have these live sessions are scheduled or not along with what's the estimated time. Well, I don't know what that meant. Are they scheduled? No. They're pretty much random. Like, for example, today I did one, and yesterday I did live sessions. But will I do one tomorrow? Probably not, because I'm going to go to the mountains and do sledding with my kids. It's going to be fun. And then I think I'll come home and I'll be too tired to do one. But the day after tomorrow, probably. And then the next day, no, because it'll be like New Year's Day, right? I probably won't do New Year's Eve, right? What's the estimated time that it would take to learn a decent amount of Japanese? Ooh, that's a good question. I've seen a guy like, I don't mean to bring it up again. Actually, I do mean to bring it up again because he's awesome. In a year and 3 months, Justin Des has been amazing. There's another user in Denmark. I forget his name. I feel so bad. But he did, I think it was like number 80 or 85. It's one of the ones on YouTube. He sent in this brilliant self-introduction, and he talked in Japanese, and he was amazing, and he's only been studying for less than 2 years. So could you do amazing stuff in 2 years? Yeah. Should you expect amazing in less than? No, don't, because it takes time. But I promise you one thing. This is something I promise everybody in the room, with rare exception, because there are people that can't get anything. Those people do exist. But if you study almost every day, and continually put words into your brain, and continually learn the grammar, and practice the things that you've already learned, and it's okay to forget some things, but you continually relearn and learn new things, you will, without fail, begin to understand Japanese. Let me give you an example of something that happened to me in Korean, because I'm studying Korean. I learned the word breasts, because I love boobies, basically. Sorry, it's true, though. And at my first Korean meetup, I learned kasum, which means breasts in Korean. And then I already knew how to say friend, 친구. And then there was a joke that I made, kasum 친구. We're breast friends, right? Breast friends. Because I met one of these other guys there and we became good friends. And they were saying we were best friends. And it was funny, right? kasum 친구. So I remembered these words, right? Then we did, in this office right here, we did a Halloween show. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's a Japanese Topics Mania Halloween show. And we did a little bit where we did a Korean Topics Mania. And in there, randomly, a word came up. I wanted to know how do you say doki doki, which is your heart thumping, in Korean. And it's dugun dugun. And she taught it to me on that show, my Korean tutor, broom. And then I was listening to a song randomly listening to a song just yesterday, and I heard 가슴 두근두근. My chest is thumping. Boom. I didn't even have to think about it because I put enough of that word was remembered in my brain. I automatically knew it. I couldn't turn off comprehension. So the more words you put into your brain that are Japanese and the more grammar that you put into your brain that is Japanese, you will automatically understand. Stop thinking that this is a hard thing. It's not. If you don't understand enough Japanese, it's because you haven't put enough Japanese into your brain. Your brain is amazing at pattern recognition. Matter of fact, there is no off button. You can't turn it off. No matter what, horse, cow, black, red. I say, in English, dog, lamp, web camera, pencil. Even something totally out of the blue, infrared remote control. You can't turn it off. You understand it, right? So even if I say a random Japanese word, aka, ao, ushi, neko, shimauma. Oh, didn't know that one, did you? Shimauma. You know uma, but what's shimauma? It's a zebra. Striped zebra. I guarantee you someone in this room, next, like tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, will hear shimauma and be freaked out. Or they heard it today. They heard it today before I said it, and they're like, oh my God. Because your brain remembers and recognizes patterns. I don't even know what your question was anymore. What was your question? Oh, how long will it take me to learn? I'm going to say, keep practicing, keep studying, and you will learn without fail how to speak Japanese. I don't know anyone that studies realistically, aggressively, for a year and a half that doesn't get pretty good. I don't know anyone. It is not possible. There are people, though, as I've said before, that say, I've been studying Japanese for 4 years and I don't know anything. And that's not true. Anyone that really studied for 4 years knows Japanese. You know who you are. You studied 2 years ago. Once, twice, a few times. But it doesn't mean you've been studying for 2 years. It meant you studied 2 years ago. So why don't you stop saying, I've been studying for 2 years, and say, I studied a couple years back, and now I'm getting back into it. Because if you studied it, no brain with realistic health can not learn it. Sleep on that. Thank you for the question. Kawaii Butterfly says, is there any difference in the meaning or nuance of Chisai and Chisana? Yes, there is, and I talked about it. I've never really done this before, but I'm going to throw you back to another daily, which unfortunately hasn't been released at the time of this filming or taping. But it's the second question from Ask a Teacher number 83, but I'm going to give you the quick answer. You can watch the full answer, number 83. It's Chisana is a little bit more poetic. That's about it. It's used a lot of times in poems and songs. And Chisai is just normal, small. There you go. That's the quick answer, long answer in Ask a Teacher number 83. Thank you for the question. And oh my gosh, another great question. I'm getting tired. I'm getting exhausted. Let me get some iced tea here. Fritz, thank you for the question, but I am done receiving questions. You missed out on the time that I was taking questions. Sorry. Eggplant says, what does no mean after a verb stem? I've seen it a few times. Example sentence from a manga. Video minno ka? Video minno ka? Or video minno? You're going to watch a video? I mean, it does still mean, are you going to watch a video? Let's talk about what minno means, right? It's really from miru no, but it's been melted down. I like to call this melting. Minno, think about it. Miru no, minno. It's really just minno, right? And when people say this, right? Like, for example, iku no ka? Iku no ka? I really feel like the nuance of this is pressing. You really want an answer. You don't want to just say, ikimasu ka? Are you going? You're like, are you going? Iku no ka? Are you going? Iku no ka? It's really aggressively asking, are you going? Minno? You're going to watch it? It could, depending on the situation, be like sort of disgust. Like, you're going to watch a video at this time after your brother just died in a car accident? Video minno? You're going to watch? gonna watch a video? It's like, it's aggressive. Either way, I mean, there's either you're pressing for an answer or you can't believe that they're gonna do it. 行くのか? Are you going? お前. Throwing a my in front of there, you're pissed. Don't be all like, すみません、あなたは行くのか? You would never say that in a polite way. お前行くの? You going? 行くよ. Yeah, I'm going. What of it? で? But that's with verbs, right? You can do it with adjectives too. Like ski, which is an adjective as we just talked about. 好きなのか? 好きなのか? You like them? 好きなのか? You like him, her, me, right? あなたのこと好きです. I like you. 私のこと好きなのか? Oh, you like me? It's like pressing for an answer. That's it. That's the answer. Hopefully I've helped. Thank you. That was like, we've never had that question before. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, next and final question is from Mr. Lohua. I'm just going to call him Lohua, I think, from now on. He says, thinking. Okay, here's one. He's like, I got to get a question in. Is there any rule for when consonants change sound into a compound word? Like hyaku to pyaku or byaku. Okay. I'm going to again refer you to another Ask a Teacher. It is Ask a Teacher number 87, and it was the very first question. And I might have actually put that up on YouTube as a question all by itself, but I don't remember which one. And that, unfortunately, also has not been released. But coming soon to Yes Japan or JapaneseFromZero.com, you will see that question. But let me give you a quick answer because you asked specifically about numbers. Hyaku means 100. And it changes based on the number to byaku or pyaku. All right? There are three numbers that typically have special circumstances. It's this: 3, 6, and 8. So for example, let's look. So 100 is hyaku. Never, by the way, is it ichihyaku. It's never ichihyaku. It stands alone. Hyaku. But when you want to say 200, you have to throw a 2 in front of it. Ni hyaku means 200. But for 3, for some reason, it's not sanhyaku, it's sanbyaku. Why, I don't know. It's just easier to say. Sanbyaku. But then for 4, you go right back to the hyaku. Yonhyaku. Why wouldn't you say yonbyaku? I don't know. It's never going to be right if you say yonbyaku. Even though you say sanbyaku. 400 is yonhyaku. 500, go hyaku. 600, boom, here it comes. Remember, 3, 6, and 8 are the weird ones. 600 for some reason is ropyaku. It's not even roku. It's not rokuhyaku. It's ropyaku. Why? Don't know. 7, back to the pattern. Nana, hyaku. But 800 again. Hapyaku. Not hachihyaku. It's just not right. Hapyaku. And then 9. Kyuhyaku. Now the same thing happens, sort of, for the thousands. You've got sen, which means 1,000. Just like you don't have ichihyaku, you don't have ichisen. But you will hear, by the way, you will hear this, isen for 1,000. You will hear that. But sen all by itself does mean 1,000, and you can use it totally fine. So, sen, nisen, sanzen. Why, I don't know. It's the rule. Yonsen, gosen, roksen. Roksen. The ku is there, it's very silent though. You really wouldn't say rokusen, it's more like roksen. Nanasen, hasen. There's your special, 3, 6, 8. Hasen, kyusen. 10,000, is it jusen? Nope, no such thing. The thousands stop right there. That's a Japanese thing, by the way. And Chinese thing and Korean thing. The thousands stop at 9. Then after that, it goes into the 10,000 marker. Ichiman. Interesting. So hyaku means 100. Sen means 1,000. But man by itself, nope. You got to say ichiman. 1 10,000 unit. And lovely, niman, samman, yonman, goman, 50,000, rokuman, nanaman, hachiman, Juman is 100,000, and there's nothing special for the mons. Nice, right? So, short answer to your question is you kind of have to remember it. But 3, 6, and 8 are special in the lower numbers. And if you want to know more about why that happens for other words, go to Ask a Teacher number 87. It's the first question. Thank you for that awesome question. If you'd like to be involved with YesJapan.com, it's very simple. Or Japanese from Zero, whatever. If you go to this link, I guarantee you that it will still go to the right website. It is YesJapan.com/upload. And you can follow us on Twitter to know when these broadcasts are happening. If you'd like to upload your question to me, you can. Keep it short, brief, and to the point, and I'll answer it here. You can follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube and our iTunes podcast. And Android podcast too, it works. Just type in Yes Japan Podcast and it will come up. Thank you for watching, and thank everyone who submitted to... I wish I could have ended a lot smoother, but I can't. Thank you for those of you that submitted your questions. I'll see you all on the next Japanese from Zero, Ask a Teacher. Bye bye. Mata kondo.